just about sailing. Second one in October. This covers the complete hatch removal, refurbishment, replacement. I could have cut it into two because it's quite long, but to be quite honest, if you're interested in this, you're interested in it, so we might as well get them all. And this video proves that this really is not a DIY channel. Right, so on second thoughts, I thought before I take the fiberglass off underneath, I could actually try and unscrew these, given that the bolts are held captive, because they might not be held in. Oh, well, that one's turned straight away. Let's just try them all. Yep. Gosh. Well, there you go. Let's get the screws out. Well, that was surprisingly easy for those four, so I think I might just try and take the other ones off and take it from there. Right, so I put this back up because I could feel it come. Oh, crikey. I was expecting a struggle with this. I could feel it kind of crinkling up as I was taking it out. But there is the thinnest layer of something on there. Let me get a close up of that. So I'm not even sure what this is on here, but it's and it's quite damp, so there's huge, great big chunks missing. It's literally paper thin. So I'm not quite, look at that. You could read something through there. So the good news is it's going to be easy to get off. Yeah, no, I'm quite pleased with that actually. That's a lot easier than I was expecting it to be. Right, so courtesy of an idea that I've nick pinched from Mads on Sail Life, that should keep it watertight for a while. Tie it down from the outside, sorry, from the inside. Right, so the task here is to get the acrylic off. I think I've shown this before, but this is so badly glazed, cracked. It only goes about that far in, and it's quite thick, but even so, it's well beyond its sell-by date. So it looks like it's the 2.5mm, but that's the only one that fits. And unfortunately that just spins round, so I'm going to have to drill this out and then extract it. But you know, this is probably well welded together, a little bit like the windows were, the old windows. It's probably been there for 30 odd years, so that's not a problem to drill that out. Possibly have to drill this out as well. Let's see. Right, the battery just went dead, but I bashed this with impact driver and it's actually come loose. So now this may look brutal, so I've got a pair of mole grips on one side, bashing this with a hammer on the other. But to be quite honest, when something's been stuck for 20 odd years, I think you're allowed to be a little bit brutal, to be quite honest. That is gradually loosening. It's making a few little dents in here, which is a shame. But so when you don't actually know what's behind something, you kind of build up a mental picture, and this is pretty much what I thought, that there's a flat piece there for the pin to go onto, and then the screw in the end simply holds this in place. So although I'm going to have to modify it, I shall simply drill something straight through there. And this is just basically a great big pin which is coming out. More easily than I thought. So, a bit brutal, but could have been worse. So this is a relief. This is just a hole straight through the acrylic. There's no recess in here. I know some of them have got recess and then a little washer in there, so that makes it a lot easier. So take that out, measure it up, get something cut to the right size, and then hopefully I can do the corners and stuff myself. So easier than I thought so far. So yeah, this is just a case of digging this stuff out. Sometimes it's just worth trying your luck. So I've been digging around at this for about 20 minutes, and I just heard a sort of a crack as it let go. It's certainly thick. Yay. If in doubt, get a bigger lever. Excellent. So that's plenty thick. Let's have a measure of that. This certainly is thick enough. I'll just notice something. I'll show you in a second. Whoops. This is bizarrely, it's about 13, 14 thick. So let me show you what I've just noticed that I should have had a better handle on. Oh well. Can you see this? There's a big divot taken out there, and here there is actually a screw in here. So this is actually threaded. There is this is actually screwed on, which I've never seen that before. That's interesting. I did notice those screws on the other side, and I didn't really kind of think about it, but that's what that big snapping sound was. So this wasn't really being held on at all by the silicone. This was that literally is just there for waterproofing. In fact, it's coming off quite easily. This is a real destruction job, isn't it? But that's cool. I can make a hole and then thread that. That's nice. Anyway, right. Next job. Get another one of these. Right. It is a very, very, very blustery day. So hopefully the dead cat is working. I've got a company called Sea Clear. I'll put a note down below to get the acrylic from, and to be honest, it's just as cheap to get them to do the curves and cut that out. So I've got the new piece of Perspex. What I'm going to do now, where I foolishly forgot before, is I'm going to drill the holes for these and cut the threads out, because I wanted to do that in situ to get an exact match. Right, so I've taped this off to the right depth, so this is only going to go in a tiny bit and shouldn't come through the other side. There's always a worry when you do these things, though, isn't there, that it's actually going to come right the way through, but we shall see. Well, there isn't a hole on the other side, so and I'm actually going to cut this in situ. Right, so they tighten down very nicely indeed. So clean the rest of it up. Clean the rest of it up and glue it all together. Right, so I'm going to tape this. I couldn't get blue tape actually, I've left the other stuff on the boat, so this very satisfying part. I'm going to actually peel this off. Wonderful. Not quite as satisfying as peeling peel ply off, but close second. Oops, close second. Right, we are all taped up and I have my marine silicone rubber sealant, so I'm going to put this round here first. No idea really how much to put on. Possibly too much is better than too little. Well, this okay, got it. This stuff keeps on squeezing out even when you're not squeezing it. I think more is more in this instance. If you don't put enough in, it's going to be tricky to take it off. That should be plenty. Because then obviously what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on, bolt it up, it'll start squidging out. I'll see what it's coming out like the back, and then I can do the top. So again, this is all taped up on the underside and the top side. Make sure it goes round the right way, which is this way. And then put these in just to centre it up. Pop these screws in just to get it all nice and snug down. I won't over tighten them, but that should be fine. this is obviously the main bit. There isn't a big gap between the perspex and the sides, so I'm going to have to squidge this in quite... Oh, it squidges in quite nicely actually. I'm really putting quite a lot of pressure on this to get it down into that gap, which is why I'm keeping this quite sort of vertical. This is a really messy bit, and any YouTube video that I've ever seen, people will just do it with their fingers, no gloves or anything, so I'm going to do it that way. So I think the idea is to do a quick once round, then get it so you can just see the tape on either side, and then take the tape off and then leave it for a very long time. This is really not nice stuff. I don't want to do this, but I do want to do it. So one of the problems, which I hadn't thought about actually having a clear see-through new acrylic, is that you can see through it, and you can see that in parts there and there are voids. This is where I should have squeezed on a little bit more. As I always say on this channel, I'm showing you how I did it, not how you should do it. Were I to do this again, I mean, I did think about using, not using the silicone at all, and actually using butyl tape, which I've got similar to doing the windows, because obviously that's the screw hole, that's where it's screwed on. But I think this will give a better bond. Anyway, I'm happy with that. Perhaps I should have put a little bit more on, but it's okay. It's filled up. I don't think it's going to leak, and as I say, I can see through it. Slightly annoying that I didn't put as much of the silicone as I'd have ideally done. I should have. I've looked back at the video and you could see that there really wasn't very much going on there. It is enough, but if I really put tons on it, then so my advice to anybody would be just put loads and loads and loads on it. Right now, putting the seals back on, you can see that's the old seal. The nearest I could get was sort of like a square shape. They're pretty much the same size, if you can see that. Okay. And what I need to, I've got some super strong adhesive. I have abraded the inside and wiped it down with solvent. I've got to cut a piece of this stuff to size and then glue it on with some very strong waterproof 2-part adhesive. So let's see if I can make that work. Right, here goes nothing. I've mixed this together. It's really quite straightforward. So that's the first coat on there. Now I'll put the first coat on the rubber, or neoprene I suppose it is really. It's the stringiness, this stuff, that's the problem. Right, so I put on one coat on both the neoprene seal and this, left it 15 minutes, put on a second coat, left it 15 minutes, and now it's time to actually put it on. I don't like contact adhesive, I must admit. I never have done. I prefer putting on glue that gradually dries, but I don't want to get this kind of stuck to itself. And lights on, but let us see how this goes. So there we go, it's certainly sealed all the way. Hopefully that's alright. So, disaster, is it? I've literally just ripped that straight out. And I didn't video it simply because I wanted to pull this out before it dried properly, but I tried closing it up. And I was always a little bit worried about the profile of this, and it's just too thick and not squidgy enough compared with the old stuff. So I need to get, what I'm going to do, there's a nice rounded channel there, so I'm going to put some rounded stuff in. It does glue quite well. I'm glad I got it out straight away. So I'm going to fit this on the boat. Going to clean this out, fit this on the boat, and get some new rounded seal. But that's just a lesson learned. I tried to match the old one as much as possible, but it just didn't work. So sometimes you just got to cut your losses fairly quickly. It's just a pain that after having cleaned all that out and done all that stuff, and it's glued, as I say, quite well, I've got to do it again, but it's the way it goes. Worst things happen at sea. So here we go, I've put in a new seal and clamped it up. So, I can get it to focus. This was the original seal. This was the one that I was going to replace it with because it kind of looks similar, but it was, I don't know, it just didn't work. So I looked at two alternatives, one being this one, which was very easy to apply. I tried it with a short bit because it's got a self-adhesive strip, but it was a little bit too soft and squishy. And then a classic sort of round neoprene seal, which was just right, fitted in the groove, and that's the one I've gone for. So I've glued it all up. And also, while you've got the glue out, you might as well do a few other things. So these are my daughter's shoes. I've actually got these clamped so that it's squished apart at the moment. I'm letting the contact stuff dry. And yes, these are the shoes that were involved in the infamous Portland sewage incident. Check back on a few videos to see that. They have been washed several times, but you know, maybe that's why they're falling apart so quickly, because they're only about 2 or 3 years old. Anyway, that's that. So very happy with the way that's turned out. That fits much better and much more snugly, actually better than the original one. So I've had that clamped out, that's all dry, that's not going anywhere, and that's nice and waterproof. The other thing I've done is I have refurbished this handle thing by oversizing that, drilling out, cutting a new thread and putting in some new grub screws, and also on this thing I drilled this out, which I probably didn't need to, but I filled it up with 406, again cut a new thread with one of these things, he's brilliant, and fill that in because I drilled right through that hole, so this kind of goes on there, and it kind of all gets adjusted up. So we're actually now ready to fit it on the boat, so let's go and do that. Right, so I'm not sure how well this will come out, but what I'm going to do, which a lot of people seem to do, is wrap some butyl tape around the head and the first part of the shank of each of the bolts. Yep, so as that goes in, that gets squished up, so you've got that waterproof in there. And then use Sikaflex for the other bit. So let's get on and actually put this hatch on at last. Sikaflex 29i. very strong. Right, no danger of not putting enough of this stuff on. A healthy squeeze out, inside and outside. Yeah, I probably did put too much on it. Still, this hatch job is not going to win any beauty contests, but it's not going to leak. Oh. So there we go. Not the not the slickest hatch job ever, but I pretty much believe that will be waterproof, and that's better than I had before. So that's it for this month. So there we go. As I say, these videos are put up not to say this is how you should do it, but this is how I did it, and I'm not even going to comment on the lessons that you could learn from this. I think you can probably work out for yourself what could have gone better with that one. But anyway, on to the next one. Let's see what that's going to be.